Greetings! We are Group 5 from HUMSS 11C. In this debate, we will be discussing about whether or not face-to-face classes should be conducted next semester. But before we start, let us introduce ourselves. On the proposition team, we have Lei Aquino, Kate Ira Gayaden, Bryan Somera, and Jhomer Dangiw. On the opposition team, we have me, Shanaya Turco, Kylie Hilario, and last but not least, Alexandra.
Good morning. I'm Lei Aquino from Proposition Team wanting face-to-face on the next semester. First, face-to-face learning is a really effective way to learn knowledge and skills. You'll be able to concentrate harder on your learning because there will be less distraction than if you were at home. There are definitely benefits to face-to-face classes that are not available in any other type of instruction. The teacher or presenter is available for more in-depth coverage of their topic. They are more able to use props and diagrams and leave those items in full view of their classroom while they speak, instead of showing them briefly over a small screen. You may feel more comfortable and learn more easily in a familiar, traditional classroom situation. School health protocols in conducting face-to-face classes must be planned carefully, following national and international guidelines to ensure that a student will be safe or at least mitigate the effects of COVID-19. After all, student lives matter, as education does to them. That is the responsibility of every government to ensure its fulfillment.
According to the Department of Health, as of this year, January 27, both Omicron lineages have been detected in the Philippines. Not only that, but Baguio City has been recently closed for tourists due to a sudden rise of COVID-19 cases. Although I do agree with Ms. Aquino that face-to-face classes is definitely the most effective way of learning, with these recent events happening, it is not safe for people, especially students, to be going out and staying in an institution in an enclosed classroom for hours end, sitting and standing near each other from different families and areas of living. As the saying goes, it is better to be safe than sorry. If face-to-face classes occur as early as next semester, not only are we risking the well-being and health of students, but their parents and siblings as well, since the virus is very easily spread. And although the proposition team may argue that vaccines can be used as a source of protection with face-to-face classes, it would be unfair for the students who were unable to take the vaccine due to underlying conditions and illnesses. With that being said, although education and effective learning is very important, our state of mental health and well-being should be prioritized.
Hi everyone, I am Kate Ira Gayaden. I have chosen the proposition because I want the government to conduct a face-to-face class. 60% are now vaccinated in the Philippines, so I wonder why they won't agree to have face-to-face with all school. I agree with what Lei has said, and we should be vaccinated before attending class. High school and college are the ones that need face-to-face classes because they are the one that is at the right age to be vaccinated and their school topic is deep. We need more evaluation because not everyone is a fast learner. Vaccination is very important for the student to have a higher percentage of safety not being affected by the virus. This is one of the most important steps for every student that will be attending classes to protect themselves and prevent the spread of the virus. As Annalise said earlier, health protocols and conducting face-to-face classes must be planned carefully for the safety of every student because life is precious.
Hello everyone. Today, I'm here to give my explanation of why I choose opposition. By the way, my name is Kylie Hilario. I don't agree with face-to-face classes because with online classes, we don't need to travel to a different city or commute long distances. We can stay where we are and keep our schoolwork while doing some of the chores inside the house. Online education also helps digital nomads, someone who espouse a technology-enabled or location-independent lifestyle. We can watch lectures and complete our schoolwork wherever we are. Whether we are a full-time or a part-time online students, the online education experience provides a much more manageable education. Online education has gained much approval on account of its cheapness. Such is the fact that online classes are more affordable than those offered at school or colleges. While studying in universities, we may have to spend much money, such as transportation, lodging, and meals. Online education may not require such expenses. One of the important aspects of online learning is inherent flexibility. However, there is a catch one. Must be extremely self-motivated. The best online student develop the various approaches of staying up on date on their schoolwork, things like setting aside time every week to study and create workspace with minimal distraction can help immensely.
I am Bryan Somera, speaking about the advantage of face-to-face classes. Can I ask you one question? Why public places are open but private and public schools are not open for face-to-face classes? Yes, of course, the economy of our country is important, so public places are open, but for me, education of a country is important. It's one of the most important aspects of a country because education is the key of success of our country. And education is the key to overcome this crisis of COVID-19. Opening public and private schools for face-to-face classes is okay for me, but we must follow health protocols for safety of the students. In this case, education is not just learning something in the school with their teachers, but education is learning something that will apply to future problems of our country. Opening of school for face-to-face classes helps students to be productive. It's not always an economical problem, but it's all about the education of the students. Many government officials are so greedy for money that they decide not to open schools because they don't care about the studies of the future of this country that like open public place to make more money. Let's always look to the brighter future of our children. Open school for face-to-face for the better future of our students.
I am Alexandra and I chose the opposing team for the topic of wanting to start face-to-face classes in the next semester. Why are we against face-to-face as of the moment? It's because we know that pandemic is unpredictable. If we will allow face-to-face learning in the middle of this pandemic, it may cause more complications to our situation right now. Let me give you an example. This news was from WRDW News of Augusta, Georgia. You can search for it on Google. It is said that in the first week of returning face-to-face class learning, their school, Richmond County, says that 179 staff members and nearly 500 students are in quarantine, and 3 schools are temporarily closed. So imagine the huge number of people being quarantined due to the rush of allowing face-to-face classes affected their education even more by having a delay due to the 14-day quarantine. We would not want that to happen to us, that it will affect our education even more. As the protocol said, that the rooms must only allow 50% of the original capacity. There will be a need for more rooms for the other 50. Or we can have a 50% in-person learning and the other 50 is through a virtual meet. Unless the government will fund schools to have and build more rooms for students, it can still be considered. But still, being exposed to such type of environment has a high risk of being affected by the virus. And not to mention that the Philippines has been in debt more during the pandemic and extra cost is very critical. So instead of spending the borrowed money for additional cases of COVID and quarantine, which could have been avoided, it is still best for the funds to be used or spent on buying more vaccines, frontliners, equipment, and so on. So answering the question of Mr. Bryan Somera, You cannot compare a public place to a school as it is not comparable. Public places itself are open, where you can roam, not like schools that have limited space, where you cannot guarantee that social distancing will be followed. Going to public places for recreation takes a short time. Unlike going to school at 7 a.m. and that ends between 12 p.m. to 5 p.m., students will be exposed for 8 hours a day. And knowing that the rooms are small and has closed environment, the risk of virus to spread easily is high. One of the cons is also the risk to be infected by COVID-19, especially for some of the students who are not yet vaccinated or fully vaccinated due to the delay of vaccines. We can still learn through online classes in the meantime as we stabilize the pandemic situation we are in. Again, I am not against face-to-face while with the pandemic. It has been 2 years, and by this time we should know and learn how unpredictable the pandemic is and be critical and smart with our decision.
I am agree with what Somera said. And lastly, I am Jhomer Dangiw from HUMSS Level C. I chose this proposition because human interaction is important, so we can learn how to interact with others, such as teachers and adults within the school. Face-to-face is better than online class or modular because students can learn a lot, spiritual, physical, and etc. When it comes to online class or modular, the other students answer their module, especially the elementary. No, they just answer their module with their parents. So my opinion should have face-to-face because it will be difficult for the students to adjust themselves because face-to-face is very different from online class or modular. I believe the sooner the better.
Like I said in my statement earlier, we can learn lectures online and apply it in our own. Like there are disadvantages of face-to-face education. If you cannot keep up with the rest of the class, you will schedule extra classes, which cost extra money due to the time constraints in the class. The lecturer cannot answer each student's question, and face-to-face classes, there is no flexibility like in online classes. And to add to that, shy students may have trouble approaching instructors with questions.
It may be concluded that although face-to-face classes are better for students' mental health and is a more effective way of learning, having face-to-face classes next semester would be a quite large risk to take, seeing as there are more variants recently. Thank you for watching, and we hope that you have learned something about our debate.